All right, welcome to Seattle, or welcome back to Seattle, because you were up in the Pacific Northwest yesterday, last night, even if you were watching it on TV. You saw the 49ers beat the Seahawks 36-24. A massive win for San Francisco, a statement win for the 49ers. And now we're going to break it all down with the 49ers Juggernaut formula. How does this team sustain its extremely high level of play? They've obviously been to either the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl over the course of 4 of the past 5 years. How do they keep on doing that here in 2024? That was the question on everyone's mind after the 49ers had started 2-3 with a couple of brutal, blown lead NFC West losses. Coming off of a game in triple-digit weather, they had to come here to Seattle on a short week and figure things out. And the formula was exactly what we had prescribed it to be far back into the offseason. Here's the article on the San Francisco Standard that I wrote last night. The night that the Stars and the 2024 rookie class saved the 49ers. The answer's in the headline. The answer of both the article and this video, the headline of this video is 49ers Juggernaut equals superstars like Brock Purdy plus rookies like Renardo Green. You have to find a way to mix both. And oh my goodness, did the 49ers mix both yesterday. How about the maturity of this 49ers rookie class? From my article last night, I had one of the quotes from Malik Mustafa that it was one of many. I had to pick which one I was going to put up on the screen. And we can put multiple up on the screen because I'm going to encourage you to go read the article. But Malik Mustafa said, "No one in this locker room is new to playing football. This is what we dreamed of. This is what we played for. Blood, sweat, and tears for this game. I look at this rookie class and these guys care. We represent the 49ers' vision, the common goal. This is just one step in the right direction. This was a statement game for us, for sure." Let's rewind exactly how this went yesterday. The Seahawks get the ball first third down of the game. DK Metcalf, the 49ers get crossed up in a coverage that's not going to work. It was Devondre Campbell for some reason chasing DK Metcalf. No bueno for San Francisco. So first down, big gain for Seattle. They're already in field goal range. The 49ers, again, they're 3 full days removed from triple-digit heat, excruciating loss to the Arizona Cardinals. They need to play. They need to set the tone. And Malik Mustafa had another really good quote that I'll get to here in just a second. But it's he and Renardo Green that combine to set the tone. And those are both rookies. And what I think is special here is that these guys have a bond that goes back to before their time with the 49ers. The bond goes back to when they were training together in Florida in the run-up to the draft. They also played against each other in the ACC. Renardo Green went to Florida State. Malik Mustafa went to Wake Forest. So the chemistry, though, that the two showed, and this wasn't just on the first interception, it was throughout the game yesterday, but that first interception, you had the blanket coverage underneath from Renardo Green, and then you had the trust from Malik Mustafa behind him to say, okay, Renardo's going to do his job on the receiver. I can play safety. I can read Geno Smith's eyes. So I was talking to Malik in the locker room after the game, and his whole thing was, if I follow Geno Smith's eyes, if I trust what my fellow rookie in front of me is doing, I can make a play on the football. I'm going to know where the ball is going. I can beat Geno to the spot with my legs. I could beat that football to the spot. And that's exactly what happened. And, the way that these guys are talking about the game schematically, and then the way that they're actually walking the walk and executing out on the field is something that you don't normally see from rookies. And so that's something I had to consult the veterans about, because I wanted to make sure that I was getting the right vibe about this 49ers rookie class. And so here you have one of the veterans. He's only in his third year, but speaking of a guy who was wise and mature beyond his years, it's Brock Purdy, who was awesome yesterday. But in the article, I talked to Kyle Juszczyk, who had a fantastic anecdote. Here we are. I'm going to highlight it. It all reminded the 33-year-old Juszczyk, who's the longest tenured 49er, of a team gathering 2 weeks ago before a game against the New England Patriots. The 49ers call it their rookie parents weekend. So they actually have a rookie parents weekend. 2 veterans address the parents of the team's young newcomers. Juszczyk and 31-year-old Chris Conley delivered the message this year. One of the first things I said to the parents is what a mature group of rookies this is, Juszczyk said. And it stood out to me how intelligent they were, taking coaching, listening to the older guys, all that type of stuff. I do think that they're a little more mature than any rookie class that I've ever been around. This gets even better. Chris Conley, who is one of the great leaders by example in the 49ers locker room, he also spoke at this rookie parent-teacher conference. I think that was the joking name for it. He said, "We knew that these guys were talented, but the support systems they have back at home are really good. Their parents had really good questions and were engaged, were supportive. None of them seemed overbearing. We tried to give them realistic expectations of what playing in this league is like. It's not always sunshine and rainbows." And that right there, that hits the nail on the head. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. It is about the people in the locker room. I don't think people fully grasp how difficult of a situation the 49ers are in. They have played 20 games in each of the past 3 seasons. 20 in each of the, so that's 60 games in 3 seasons. And obviously, they've come up painfully short. NFC Championship game losses in 2 straight years, followed by, well, was it 2? Yes, 2 straight years. We're going back to 2021, NFC Championship game loss, 2022, NFC Championship game loss, followed by a Super Bowl loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime for the 49ers. There's a lot of big games to keep track of, but the team has won a lot of big games. They've lost some huge ones, and they've had to run marathons to get to that level. And now they have to run it back. And it doesn't matter how many all-pros the 49ers have walking around the building. What they are going through is both physically and emotionally exhausting. So what they have needed to perpetuate their run, as was made so evident by the losses to the Cardinals and to the Rams, but what is already evident in the offseason, just if anybody who knew football and looked at the roster, it's the 3rd oldest roster in the league. What they needed was a youth infusion. They not to replace the superstars, to augment the superstars, to give the team some needed bounce, some needed energy. I mean, the whole salary cap benefit, that's obvious, but they needed it on the field now. They needed these guys to produce right away. And for rookies to be able to produce right away in the pressure cooker that is Seattle, they have to be mature. They have to be good football players, but they have to be mature football players, and you have to find the right people. And the 49ers obviously found the right people with this rookie class. I'm going to go through the contributors yesterday one by one, but Chris Conley, I think, struck at what's so important. When the 49ers, they do their research on these players, and people always ask, how have they been so successful finding guys that fit their team so well in the later rounds of the draft? Because guess what? The 49ers first round pick, we're talking about how good this draft class is. The 49ers first round pick hasn't played yet. Ricky Pearsall's returning to practice next week. So the fact that they're already getting so much out of the lower round picks is right on brand for how the 49ers have built the operation that they've built. And it comes back to the focus, not just on the playing talent, but also on the maturity of these players, because that's the kind of trait that is going to stick out when your back is up against the wall in Seattle, like it was last night. So Conley saying, we knew these guys were talented, but their support systems they have back at home are really good. Their parents had really good questions and were engaged, were supportive. Just zoom out from the quote for a second and realize that the 49ers actually host a parents' weekend. That's how important culture is to this team. They actually host a weekend where the parents of the rookies get to meet the veterans like Kyle Juszczyk, who's been around longer than any other 49er. 33-year-old veteran signed in March of 2017. And he's meeting all these guys, these 22, 23-year-old guys and their parents. That's how you bring the team on the same page. And that's what the 49ers were able to do yesterday. So you go, one by one through the contributions. Malik Mustafa hurt his ankle. Malik told me at his locker he's going to be fine. He exited the game. I have the video of Malik Mustafa up. I don't put these guys on blast by, I'm interviewing them one-on-one. I'm not going to, everybody who's commenting on the video, is his ankle all right? I'm not going to have the camera up in his face as I'm talking to him, asking him about an injury. It's not a proper or a classy thing to do. You could turn the camera off, ask him how his ankle is doing. I don't think all medical information needs to be shared with the world, but Malik said he's going to be good. He said he was feeling okay after the game. So that much I will relay to you. The play that he showed early in the game, though, set a tone for the 49ers. He's working alongside Renardo Green, and his fellow rookie then grabbed the torch and carried it for the rest of the game. 49ers found out that Charvarius Ward wasn't going to be able to go after he tested his knee in pregame warmups. And the theme of 49ers Seattle over the past couple of years had been what Charvarius Ward had done to neutralize DK Metcalf. Well, they neutralized DK Metcalf again, but this time without Charvarius Ward. So that's a credit to Renardo Green and just wisdom. Again, I talk about maturity, wisdom beyond his years. The last interception, they got pressure from Malik Collins on the play. Nick Bosa had 14 pressures. I'm going to get to him in just a second because the second part of this equation is the 49ers superstars. But Renardo Green, I think, baited Geno Smith into throwing that football to DK Metcalf. If you watch one of the angles from over the top, DK Metcalf is crossing the field. Renardo Green is over him. He's on the back end of it. And when that throw comes out, he uses his burst and cuts under the route and therefore undercuts the throw for one of the biggest interceptions you'll ever see. The score was 23-17 at the time. And I guarantee you those watching this show right now, those of you who were watching this show who were actually watching the game at that time, you probably thought the 49ers were going to blow it. You thought they were going to lose. Like, they're shorthanded. This is who this team is solidifying into a truly mediocre team that likes to blow a lot of leads. Seattle has been a house of horrors in the past, but then in stepped Renardo Green. It was 1st and 18, and he understood the down and distance. He understood that Seattle was going to be trying to dig themselves out of a hole after losing 8 yards. It was losing 10 yards, but it came after they picked up 2 on a holding penalty. And he took the gamble. He baited Geno Smith. I mean, that's a youngster baiting a veteran quarterback. And he made the play. Now, the help that the 49ers DBs got in this game from their pass rush was epic. The other part of this formula is the dominance of the superstars. Okay, well, here's the dominance of one of the superstars. That is Nick Bosa. 49 pass rushes, 14 pressures. He registered a pressure on 28.6% of snaps. I don't care if he didn't have any sacks. I care how he impacted the game. And Nick Bosa dominated this football game. I would say that he took over this football game. People who don't know the actual nuances of the sport will complain that he didn't take over. 14 pressures is tied for the most in the past 4 years in the NFL. It's been done 4 times. Nick Bosa's done it twice. He also had 14 pressures against the Rams in 2022. But what you see here, this is Nick Bosa's tracking what he did on every play, the green movement. There's a couple interesting things. One is the discipline of Nick Bosa's pass rush. As you can see, he is constraining the pocket every single time. So the pressures are coming from all different directions. Only once did it look like he had a wheel out and chase Geno Smith. But Bosa is the ringleader of a 49ers defensive line that constricts the pocket like a boa constrictor. And Seattle did not have a good offensive line, so the 49ers needed this yesterday. The 49ers badly needed to step up in both their run defense and their pass defense, and they did. They held the Seahawks to 2.6 yards per carry, and they did what I showed up on the screen to the Seattle offense. Meanwhile, on the other side of the football, this was the efficiency chart of the 49ers offense. I said that green is good, purple is bad. Last week, there was a lot of purple. They weren't particularly efficient running the football against the Arizona Cardinals. Well, here you have green across the board. The most rushing yards for San Francisco since the 2019 season. They had 228 rushing yards. They had 232 against the Carolina Panthers in 2019. That was actually the game where Nick Bosa notched his first career interception. There's more. The 49ers had Brock Purdy, and the Seattle Seahawks didn't. The Seattle Seahawks had Geno Smith. Look at the efficiency difference. Brock Purdy exponentially better than Geno Smith. 0.39 EPA per play is really damn good. So let's go move on to this. Brock Purdy is a bona fide superstar. There are still people that are trying to denigrate him by, there was one, I mean, it was idiotic. I saw it yesterday. It was a tweet saying that the deep throw from Purdy to Deebo Samuel is what causes people who watch film to go crazy. And it's like, what are you even talking about? He completed a 71-yard touchdown pass under duress to Deebo Samuel. He put the football where only Samuel could get it with a safety coming in over the top. And for some reason, we're having a conversation about how somehow that play was tricky to evaluate. There was absolutely nothing tricky to evaluate Brock Purdy throwing yet another deep touchdown pass. He has been the most efficient quarterback in football since he has entered the league. I'm tired of the revisionist history. I'm tired of, the people saying, oh, well, he got better this year. I'm also tired of the extra scrutiny that Brock Purdy gets on things that people who actually know the game and people who actually watch tape and know what they're looking at, they actually will say it's impressive. I hate the fact that Brock Purdy gets extra scrutiny from a media that doesn't know what it's watching. I mean, at the end of the day, the 49ers are getting this on an almost game-by-game basis. I know that he was a little worse against the Arizona Cardinals. The whole team obviously was. But on almost game-by-game basis, they are getting insane efficiency from Brock Purdy, and it does not matter who's in that lineup with him. There was a play yesterday where both Kittle and Deebo Samuel were out. So the five eligibles included Eric Saubert, Patrick Taylor Jr., Kyle Juszczyk. They still did have the All-Pro Brandon Ayuk in there, and Purdy, calm as can be, dropped back. It was loud in Seattle. I mean, this has tripped up so many 49ers quarterbacks in the past. Stepped up in the pocket, found Brandon Ayuk, kept the line moving. I mean, the guy is an MVP quarterback. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Last year, I pointed out already in 2022 and 2023 that Brock Purdy was one of the best scramblers in the game. People met that harshly. People didn't want to hear that for whatever reason, because everything that Brock Purdy does has to be denigrated for some reason. But now it's accepted truth, right? Brock Purdy is indeed one of the best scramblers in the game. Last year, I was saying Brock Purdy is the most accurate deep passer that we've seen on NFL record. Like, the record of these deep passes goes back about a quarter century. He completed about 60% of them. This year, he's, again, completing a very high percentage of deep passes, and he's throwing even more of them. The efficiency on the intermediate throws is unreal. This is a superstar. He is dominant. He delivered in Seattle yesterday. And when you combine the superstar performances of guys like Bosa that I showed you, Brock Purdy that I just talked about, George Kittle, unbelievable, catching that pass. And that was, what a throw. Cross hash from Brock Purdy. I thought he couldn't throw outside the numbers. Cross hash to the pylon where only George Kittle could get it. And then the toe tap from Kittle. I mean, you get, and talk about Deebo Samuel too. Becomes the, by the way, Deebo, side note, related, Deebo Samuel became the first player in NFL history with 20, the first receiver in NFL history with 20 receiving touchdowns and 20 rushing touchdowns. The guy's an absolute superstar. And the premature discussion of Deebo Samuel not being around with the 49ers to finish out his contract, which still has this season and the season after it, it just goes to show you that a lot of people talk about football but do not know what they are talking about. But you combine the dominance of the superstars with the maturity of this 49ers rookie class, and you have what I call the 49ers juggernaut formula. Are they a juggernaut yet? No, I wouldn't say so. I think they have a track record, but I think every subsequent team has to prove itself. And right now, this team is 3-3. That's not a juggernaut's record yet, but they definitely have the formula in place. And now they have to go cook the meal. They have the ingredients. They have to cook the meal. The next opportunity for the 49ers is against the Kansas City Chiefs. That's obviously the team that's stood in their way of their ultimate goal twice, in Super Bowl 54 and Super Bowl 58. So what timing, right? Now we get to see the 49ers take the formula, the maturity of the rookie class, plus the dominance of their superstars. They get to take that formula and apply it against the gold standard of the NFL. That is the Kansas City Chiefs at Levi's Stadium. But, you know, we have to talk a little bit more about the 49ers rookies because I'm not done yet. We can go through so many in this class. Isaac Guerendo, 76-yard run. There's a big debate going on. Did he slide down on purpose, or was he tripped up by Devin Witherspoon trying to chase him down? The truth might be somewhere in between the two. I don't think you fall that gracefully if you are tripped up unexpectedly. So I think that Witherspoon might have gotten his ankle, but I think that Guerendo's already thinking about sliding. Guerendo was awfully specific when he was talking about what happened. He said he was looking at the sideline. He said people were saying, get down. I'll give him credit for at least having the slide in his mind because I don't think it would have looked that smooth had he been unexpectedly tripped up. That is a mature play. That cost Isaac Guerendo a 100-yard rushing day. He had 99 yards rushing. It cost him his first career touchdown. I mean, he had been chomping at the bit for weeks to break out a big run with his 4.33 speed. He's got special speed. His relative athletic score was similar to Saquon Barkley's. But he doesn't have nearly as much experience. He only started one game in college. So for Isaac Guerendo to even have that cross his mind, as you know, he had to replace Jordan Mason. I got an update on Jordan Mason in a second. But for Isaac Guerendo to even have that cross his mind as he's sprinting down the sideline in such a big moment, that underscores the maturity of this rookie class. And then you've got Dominic Pooney, who had the lead block. Trent Williams came out and had one of the highest of compliments for Dominic Pooney, the 49ers starting right guard. I'll read it for you right here, because Trent Williams knows what he's talking about in this regard. He said, I didn't know he didn't play right guard in college, which is crazy because he literally has the makings of a Pro Bowl and all-pro player at that position. He's a godsend. Listen, the 49ers pass protection is ranked in the top 10 this year. Dominic Pooney is a huge part of that. Up on the standard, and we should go back to some of these articles right now because I've made some cool charts here over the past few weeks. So this is the piece from last night. You should check it out. The article, the link is in the description, but we can go to the quarter season stat check on the offense. Look at the 49ers rushing direction and efficiency. Look how much that's changed over the year. 2023 is here. 2024 is here. This has remained about the same, by the way, since I made this chart 2 games ago. Their percentage of runs to the right has increased by a huge amount. Their efficiency of runs to the right has increased. And guess what? The 76-yarder from Isaac Guerrero, which looked a lot like Jordan Mason's 55-yarder 2 years ago here in Seattle, is going to help that average on the right side. The right side, you have to tip your cap to Dominic Pooney, and then you also have to tip your cap to a veteran, to Colton McKivitz. He had a great block on that game-sealing run for the 49ers yesterday. So it's about finding the formula of established players and young players, and the 49ers took a major, major step in finding that formula yesterday. Was that a complete game from San Francisco? No, it wasn't. The special teams is still a massive, massive issue in the kicking game, at least. Now, I will say that the punt coverage was awesome from the 49ers yesterday. And they should have had the replay officials actually see the camera footage that was available. And for whatever reason, it didn't get to the replay officials in time, and see that D. Williams muffed that punt. That would have been another feather in the cap for the 49ers punt coverage. But the kick coverage allowed the Seahawks to get back in this game. It's something that you just can't have if you're the 49ers. But everything else that the 49ers did yesterday was executed at an impressive level. They put up 36 points offensively. That was a Mike McDonald defense. He was the coordinator of the Ravens last year. Purdy took care of the football. 3 giveaways for Seattle, none for the 49ers. Hey, special teams did force a takeaway on kick coverage, so there was that. But it was the kick return for a touchdown that truly made the 49ers sweat in this game. They forced those 2 interceptions from Geno Smith. Both came from rookies. You know, they just squeeze the life out of the game the way that the 49ers do when they're playing well. They responded to their backs being against the wall, and they did it through that youth infusion combined with the superstardom that I think is going to be absolutely necessary for this team to get back to the Super Bowl and actually win it this time. I want to get the article back up on the screen here. Where is it? There it is. The night the Stars and the 2024 rookie class saved the 49ers. We got a few more graphics to show you here. These are the pressures allowed by the 49ers offensive line last night. Coach Yak does a good job on Twitter. Borrowed his tweet here. This is from PFF, so credit to them. But Aaron Banks missed 6 snaps yesterday. Officially was dealing with cramps. We'll check in on Kyle Shanahan today to see what the real deal with Aaron Banks was. Spencer Burford replaced him for a few snaps, but Banks did not have his best game. 4 pressures given up. Brendel 2, including 1 that derailed the play. Pooney 2. Trent Williams 1. Colton McKivitz 1. I think Colton McKivitz has made real strides this year. So many people were skeptical of the 49ers plan with Colton McKivitz, but the run blocking, like I showed you, to the right has been huge for San Francisco. And anytime you can go through a game and only give up 1 pressure from a tackle spot, that's really good stuff. How about this? The 49ers used 21 personnel, which is 2 backs, 1 tight end, on 47% of their plays, gaining 317 yards and 2 touchdowns. The most such yards in a game by any offense in the next-gen stats era. So the 49ers are running old school fullback, running back offense better than anybody in this era. That's because they have Kyle Juszczyk on their team. They averaged 11.3 yards per play and recorded a 61% success rate on 28 plays in 21 personnel. Is there a better bargain in the NFL outside of Brock Purdy than Kyle Juszczyk. You got so many people who don't know the game who say that Kyle Juszczyk is some kind of extraneous piece for the 49ers. He's a luxury item that they don't actually need. They don't know what they're watching. I'm sorry. Like, go back to this. This is the most efficient performance of 21 personnel since 2016, since Next Gen Stats started tracking this. Defenses are not built to take on the extra blockers these days. Defenses have gotten smaller. They're trying to get faster to combat the spread offenses. So the 49ers want to zag while other teams are zigging. That's why Juszczyk has been with this team since 2017 to such great success. And it's not just him being a road grader in front of running backs. The fact that he can catch the football down the field, present that threat down the field, makes defenses unable to firmly respond to any formation that the 49ers put out there. You can't gamble on just one thing because they can do something entirely different. That's where the Swiss Army knife of Kyle Juszczyk comes in. And this guy took a pay cut entering this season. He wasn't making a huge amount of money to begin with because the fullback pay scale is obviously so much lower than the other positions. But the 49ers had to ask for a pay cut due to the salary cap limitations elsewhere. They've got to prepare themselves, too, to pay Brock Purdy, who's a superstar level quarterback. Juszczyk took the pay cut. Wasn't easy to do, but he took the pay cut, and he's still performing at an all-pro level. He's still, I always go back to the game against Cincinnati in 2019, where I saw for the first time I fully understood what the deal was with Kyle Juszczyk. Crossed the formation on a play fake to block Carlos Dunlap. You don't see many offensive tackles successfully blocking players like Carlos Dunlap back when he was in his prime consistently. Kyle Juszczyk was able to cross the entire formation as a much lighter player and still get enough of Carlos Dunlap to protect Jimmy Garoppolo, who threw to Marquise Goodwin, and it turned into a touchdown. That's the play I always point to, but Juszczyk has done similar stuff to that many, many times. He's tasked with some of the most difficult blocks on the field. He is a linchpin of the 49ers offense. He absolutely is. And yesterday, this is a credit to Juszczyk. And, I'm happy for him. He got to celebrate with his family and friends. So did George Kittle. They're all in one of those on-field suites together. They're in the north end zone in Seattle. And, they said, I think it was Kristen Juszczyk before the game on social media said, I really want either George or Kyle to score a touchdown on this end zone so they could come greet us. And they both scored on that end zone. And you talk about, the Juggernaut formula also has to include special teams. And first couple possessions didn't go well for the 49ers. And they heard it from me. I was very, very critical on social media about, I thought they're way too predictable on special teams, or they were in the red zone. And they're running to low efficiency on first down, and the defense was gambling on it. And then they were just spreading it out on second and third and long. And with condensed space of the red zone, you put yourself in a really, really tough position when you do that, because guys, are going to struggle to get open. And Seattle was able to choke off all the passing lanes. My advice, and I think it still applies moving forward, is that the 49ers need to run more passing plays out of running formations in the red zone. I don't care if your rushing efficiency is bad without Christian McCaffrey there. Make the defense think about the run on a passing play. Play action. Just simple play action. I formation kind of stuff. 21 personnel. Actually, you're so efficient out of 21 personnel around the entire field. Why don't you do a little bit more in the red zone? That's what I was getting at yesterday. And I think that could be what saves the 49ers in the red zone sustainably before Christian McCaffrey does return. But yesterday, what saved them was Brock Purdy just being, it was Tom Brady like laser precision in the end zone. That throw to George Kittle crossed the hash, crossed the field. People need to remember football fields are 53 1/3 yards wide. So when somebody's throwing cross hash and they're putting that ball in the only spot where George Kittle can get it with the velocity to beat the safety, Julian Love, who was covering on the play, that's arm talent. Purdy has arm talent. The people who said that he doesn't have arm talent, again, I know I repeat this a lot, but You've got so many people peddling information, and those people don't know what they're talking about these days, because it's all about building a brand. People have to build a brand. So some people will yell at a camera to build a brand. Some people will talk about air yards to build a brand. Sometimes it should be, and most of the times, and maybe all the time, it should be just about talking the truth, saying the simple truth, keeping it real. Brock Purdy is an MVP quarterback, has arm talent to match that. Does he have the arm that Matthew Stafford does? No, nobody's saying that. But can he throw cross hash to the pylon to beat Julian Love and put the ball where only George Kittle can get it? Yes. Is he one of the best scramblers in the game? Yes. So that's what I talk about when I say that the 49ers have their superstars and they're dominant, and denigrating the play of the quarterback when obviously the tape shows us that it shouldn't be denigrated. That's what I mean when this team has a formula. And yesterday they mixed that rookie class into the formula. Anyway, the Jordan Mason update is that it's a AC joint sprain. It is not considered serious. Mike sent it to me a few minutes ago. Believed to have suffered a sprained AC joint during Thursday night's win at Seattle. That is not considered serious, but he will undergo further testing today. That is from Adam Schefter. Everybody sign up for the San Francisco Standard. The link is in the description. And the quote from Malik Mustafa from the article last night is right up on your screen. No one in this locker room is new to playing football. This is what we dreamed of. This is what we played for. Blood, sweat, and tears for this game. I look at this rookie class, and these guys care. We represent the 49ers vision, the common goal. This is just one step in the right direction. This was a statement game for us, for sure. Go onto the screen. This is the article. Make sure you check it out. So many good quotes in there. Look at this one from Mustafa. Really, the point of emphasis was to reestablish the identity of the defense. Put the league back on notice. We had to step up in numerous spots. And I love to zoom out. Taking a look at this in the big picture, everybody was freaking out after Sunday's loss, or almost everybody. The 49ers have a track record of bouncing back from slow starts, and that track record showed up again yesterday. They have the culture in the locker room and the mix of superstars, and it turns out the mix of rookies to be able to bounce back. Now they have the Chiefs coming. They have Ricky Pearsall returning to practice this week. Look, there's in the article, you check it out, it's Malik Mustafa with his with the football. Hold football. At the very end, Malik showed me the inscription on the ball, or the tape. Let's see if I could get this up on the screen for you. If it loads, it's going a little bit slow right now. Looks like we might not be lucky enough for that. But anyway, they taped the football with the date, the location, the player who notched it, and the milestone, and it was the first career interception for Malik Mustafa. It's actually disappointing me that we can't get that up there. I'm going to try to refresh this really quickly. Okay, this might work. And, they picked Malik Mustafa with the selection that the Dallas Cowboys sent them for Trey Lance, the 4th-round pick. Cool little bit of symmetry there. As soon as I put it up on the screen, it stops working. That's really unfortunate. So I'm going to give up on that endeavor. It's all good. Check it out. It's up on the Standard. You can watch it there. We got Kyle Juszczyk's touchdown in there as well. At the end, Mustafa said there's more left on the table. There certainly is. A lot of meat left on the bone. Nobody's saying that the 49ers were perfect, but they were efficient as hell. 200-plus rushing yards. Brock Purdy, a quarterback rating of nearly 130. Didn't matter who was in there as his weapons. They fought through the toughest parts of the game where it looked the bleakest. This was a team that rose to the challenge yesterday. They showed that grit that you need to show in the NFL. They, in very short, they showed what the Juggernaut formula looks like. They're not a juggernaut yet, but they do have dominant superstars, and they do have that necessary mature rookie class that they can put together to reach that. And they have another great opportunity coming up after the mini bye against the Kansas City Chiefs. Anyway, sign up for the Standard. Link to this big article is in the description. You could go ahead and check it out. That's from the locker room here in Seattle. Looks like a gray day here in Seattle, but it's okay. As long as it's not raining, I'm happy because it rains so much in this city. Going to go out and get some good food, share it with you, talk about the 49ers today. So go ahead and subscribe, follow along. We will talk to you all very soon. Take care.